Hi friends, my name's Steven with Leviathan Snakes, and for this week's ball python marketing tip, we're going to be focusing all on logos, logo designs, why they're useful, the differences between logos and illustrations or logos and pictures, things like that. So hopefully this is going to be enjoyable. This is actually a requested thing from our last video when we were doing like big old overview on brands. So if you haven't seen that video, you can check it out up here, I think is where it's going to be. I'll throw up a card in the editing process. So anyways, let's get to it. So first, I want to talk about logos versus illustrations, because logos are really, really important, and a lot of people know that they need a logo, especially if they want to have a ball python business, specifically not just like hobby level or personal level breeding, which both of those are completely fine. There's nothing wrong either way with breeding a couple ball pythons just because you want to make some babies, and you don't have to have a full-time business trying to make it a full-time business in order for it to be legitimate or valuable. So that's just kind of want to throw that out there. So anyways, back to the logo topic. So a logo, in my opinion, and it kind of comes from like the marketing world. So I am a digital marketing strategist. Before the current job that I had, I ran the digital marketing for the South Carolina Army National Guard. Pretty much all of my education's in marketing or English writing, things like that. I've been in the field on a personal level for a bit. So this doesn't mean that my opinions are facts, and everybody has different opinions. So I just kind of want to throw that out there as well. These are just my thoughts on logos and what makes effective logo. So a lot of people know that they need a logo, and they will go to an artist friend, just somebody who's really, really talented at maybe drawing, painting, stuff like that. And they will generally commission them to make them a logo that depicts, often it's one of their snakes, probably one of the very first snakes that they got. And these can look awesome and they can work well for like social media icons. But when you start implementing them in all of the use cases that you would use a logo for, they can come up short. And one of the big reasons why illustrations and drawings, paintings, things like that, even if they're done on a computer, can fall short is that they're not in the right file formats. So a lot of these, once they're put into a social media format, they are a JPEG or a PNG or something like that. And these are raster images. Essentially, there are a bunch of little teeny tiny dots that make up the image, and that's how you see it. So there's nothing wrong with this. Honestly, you should use a raster type image for a lot of social media stuff. But when you start blowing this up to, let's say, like a t-shirt graphic or a billboard, a sign, anything like that, that is beyond just a social media graphic, a lot of times these files and these images that were created get pixelated and they get distorted and they get blurry and they just don't look professional. So that's one of the very first things about a logo. A good logo has files for every single use case that you will find, not just simply something that looks good as a social media icon. The second one, a lot of illustrations or pictures are too detailed, and this doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad, but it makes it harder for the audience to remember all of the different aspects when you have a super crisp, sharp image that you're trying to use as your logo. Because it being super crisp and nice and very, very realistic of whatever animal or whatever thing that you are depicting, it kind of gets lost in all of the other pictures and videos and things like that that we see in social media. You don't think of it as a logo because it's not distinctive enough. It's just another picture. So that's something else to keep in mind. Those are really like two big reasons why having an illustration might not be the best choice when you are looking at an illustration or a logo, and it can be a little bit hard. So let's go over like what a logo is. So a logo is a representation of your business or hobby or just organization. So when we are looking at logos, in like kind of my opinion, like what make really good ones, they're simple. They're usually 3 elements, and that doesn't mean that they only have 3 things in them, but there are 3 general concepts that make up a logo, and that is an overall shape. So a distinctive shape that can kind of set it apart from others. Somebody who has really, really cool, good logo is Blind Strike Pythons, I think it is. If I have it wrong, I'll put a link to their YouTube channel, their Instagram, all of that stuff below in the description. But they have an awesome logo. It's simple. It gives their entire business in this really, really simple logo that can stand out, and it's also distinctive. I love the color scheme. So it stands out from competitors. I really, really like it. So shape's one. You want a unique shape that can catch your audience's interest and stand out from all of the competitors. Number two is color, and color can also be used to help you stand out from your competitors. But the thing with color that I really like is it's the first thing that you can use to really give your own personal vibe to it. So if you are kind of a to the point, blunt person, I'm here to do business and I want to give you the best quality thing possible, you might not want a logo that's pink, because pink generally doesn't give that same mindset. Maybe you want really dark, black and white, and that's your entire logo because you are to the point. And you can use color to kind of signify your business and your personality. It's really, really cool. Last one is symbolism. And symbolism, while it can go, and most of the time should go, towards your industry, so for ours, we have the snake in the middle. That's our symbolism that we are Leviathan snakes and that we breed ball pythons. But it doesn't have to just be the symbolism towards the industry. The other symbolic thing about our logo is the planet shape. And the reason why that's symbolic and it's important to us is that it's kind of sci-fi themed, and we're big nerds. We love science fiction, we love fantasy novels, D&D, The Expanse, there's a bunch of really, really cool nerd culture stuff that is related and resonates with the planet theme, so space and stuff like that. So when you have symbolism, not only are you trying to symbolize your industry and what service or what product you are providing to the world, but as well you want to symbolize yourself. So when you are looking at designing your logo, if you can find symbolic ways through the shape, the color, or just a straight symbol in order to display the unique attributes about yourself. This doesn't necessarily mean what makes you different from all the other ball python breeders, but what makes you you? What are you really, really passionate about that may not directly have to deal with ball pythons? So let's say you're a musician and you are going to either make a logo or commission somebody to make a logo. Maybe for the overall shape, you want it kind of shaped like a guitar. So that's just one way. And then whenever you talk about the logo to somebody, be like, oh yeah, I chose this because I play guitar. I've been playing since I was 14 years old. I love it. Here's my favorite bands. And there are different ways that you can connect with a target audience. So shape, symbolism, color. I know that wasn't the order that I originally said them, but those are what I think are the three major things that make up an effective logo. So we're going to get a little bit away from logo, kind of on brand, and I know that we talked about this last week as well. So people buy from specific brands for really one of two reasons, and that is they perceive that whatever that brand is for people like them, or they perceived that that brand is for people that they want to be like. So you can buy a ball python from pretty much anybody. There are thousands of different breeders, there's thousands of different sellers, but if you find a breeder that resonates with you, maybe you're a veteran and you served in the US military, or you're a police officer and you find that there's a ball python breeder that also was a veteran, and all of their marketing is related to service and patriotism and things like that, and that resonates with you and it's really important to you, even though they may have a snake that is a little bit more money than random dude who doesn't have a brand and is breeding ball pythons in their basement, which again, there's nothing wrong with. I know I kind of said that in a snarky way. There's nothing wrong with that. But the random dude may price theirs at the bottom of the barrel because they're just trying to move product. They're not necessarily concerned about making as big of a profit or making sure their business is as stable as possible. Instead, they just want to get rid of some snakes. So in this situation, the person who has this patriotic brand and does a really, really good job of conveying his appreciation for service members may charge a little bit more, but then the person who doesn't have a brand and isn't really taking the entire ball python business seriously, as a 100% full-time endeavor, and instead the person with the patriotic brand might charge more, but you might be willing to pay more because you want to show your appreciation for them because they've made a brand that resonates with you. I know that was a little bit of ramblingness. So when you're looking at what you want from a logo as well as branding and stuff like that. Really, it kind of is personal. What do you want from like breeding ball pythons? Do you want to do it just as a personal level? Just make a couple snakes because you have specific combos and specific personal projects that you want to explore, and you just kind of want to sell the extra babies so that way you can give happiness and joy to other people. Maybe give them a new pet, things like that. That's one type of thing. And really, when it comes to this, you don't necessarily need the most professional logo that's ever been created. As long as you just have something that way people can remember you by, you're probably going to do fine, even if this is an illustration, because you're probably not going to be going out and getting t-shirts and getting billboards and making a sign for a storefront or things like that. Really, as long as it works for a social media icon, in this case, you're probably fine. Second level, I would say, are hobbyists. So these are people who are not doing it full-time, and they don't necessarily plan to do it full-time, but they are serious. And they are active in the community, and because they are active in the community, they want to be perceived as having a high-quality reputation to reflect the high-quality animals that they produce. And in this case, it probably is getting into this situation where you want a high-quality professional-made logo, but it's not a necessity because, again, you may not be getting t-shirts or billboards or getting it printed off in a bunch of like hatch cards that are personalized specifically for your brand. And then the last one are those who are either having an entire business already or they plan to make it a full-time business. And in this case, I personally believe that the earlier you are able to adopt a logo, whatever the logo is, without changing it, you will get more bang for the buck. So if you are early on adopting a professional level logo, you are going to get way more results than if you wait until you're a full-time business and then you try to switch over to a professional logo, because you will have lost some of that brand recognition, even if the logo you were using before wasn't as good. So these are just kind of like thoughts overall about logos. I know it's not like as crunchy as like a lot of our other tips, and we are going to move back to that. So we'll try to hit some social media ones. Again, if you guys ever have any questions about marketing, leave them in the comments below and we'll definitely make a video about it. So again, my name is Steven with Leviathan Snakes, and if you're not following the channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, send us a message on Instagram, and we will see you on Sunday.